Hello and welcome everyone to week 1 of the Mountain West. We're here at the Boise State Esports Arena to get the season underway for Overwatch 2. Earlier today, our Boise State Broncos topped Baylor in the PEC Spring in a 3-0 fashion. Now they will look to carry that energy over as they face the Oregon State Beavers. Beavers versus Broncos, it's the Mountain West, and it starts right now. For the casting desk, I am your host, Danner Hill. Alongside me, Bryce Jensen, as my analytics for the night. And now, Bryce, as we had a great time in the Mountain West last fall with Rocket League and Smash, it's time for the spring and Overwatch 2 as well. How are you feeling about that?
Honestly, I'm feeling great. This is going to be another Broncos season. I feel like we are in a prime spot to get some stuff done. In the last semester, our Rocket League team actually took home the Mountain West title as the Mountain West Rocket League champions, and even our Smash Bros. Team put up one of their best performances to date as well in the Mountain West. So I think it is safe to say that the Broncos are going to have a very good time once again in the Mountain West. 5 years in a row, they are defending champions in Overwatch 2 specifically, not regular. I'm not sure if that streak continues for regular Overwatch, but I know every single year that Overwatch 2 has been out, they have been a champion in the Mountain West, so I can't wait to see them continue that dominance tonight.
And that's got to be an accolade for them for sure. But before we get into the action today, I got a question to the audience. Do you want to keep up with all things Boise State Overwatch 2? Well, I got some great news for you. We have social media accounts awaiting. Go onto Instagram and X and give us a follow at Boise State OW, all one word, and you'll get updates, schedules, and even content from our Overwatch 2 team. That's Boise State OW on Instagram and X. And I mean, it's a great time over there. They're posting all the fun stuff that we need to know.
Yeah, but we are going to take a quick look at some of the fun people up there on desk tonight. We got Jonathan Foraker, Cannon Miller, Carter Jones, Will Hess, Jenny Cummins, Amanda Bailey, Mark Thana, and of course, Doc Haskell himself.
Can't forget about Doc. He is the one that helps all these players play to their peak. And right now, it's to start off Mountain West. And first, we do have to talk about another key part of the game, and that is Doc's keys of the game. And in Overwatch, it is tank and DPS move together, play what you're good at, take fights in unexpected places, and objective over kills. All brought to you by Blue Ribbon Painting. Blue Ribbon Painting, one of the most, it's Doc's Keys of the Game are brought to you by Blue Ribbon Painting with over 90 years of combined experience. They are proud to be Boise State's go-to team of local multi-generational painters who know how to level up your home. Visit blueribbonpainting.net.
Yeah, and overall, we are just about to jump into it. Boise State, once again, looking to start off another, hopefully, championship run. We've seen it out of them for the last 5 years. They're great. They have been great in the Mountain West. The Mountain West has been great to them. Looking to gear up for our matchup against UNLV, the people we fought for the championship over the last year. So I believe that will be the thing to look forward to most. But for now, we got to get past the Oregon State Beavers.
Yep, the Beavers are going to be our first opponents in the league. This is week 1 of many. I mean, I'm excited for what this team will bring towards the rest of the season. And I think this is going to be a great starting point for them. I think just to get themselves on the board, get an initial win, some movement going, momentum started. I think this will be great for them.
And how fitting that it is the Beavers that we are going up against as well. Boise State is starting to come on a roll. They've started to get their momentum flowing, sort of like a river. And what is it that Beavers try to do? They try to dam up the river. They try to block it out. They try to stop it from moving. But if the river's too strong, knocks it all over. No more Beaver House for them.
No more Beavers.
If Boise State is able to continue the momentum that they've sort of been creating against Baylor, on their week off from their regular play with PEC, maybe that momentum will just keep them crashing through.
Maybe, and I mean, that's what we're here to see. We're here to see how well these players are adapted and ready to go for this Mountain West season. I mean, we've already gone through about 4 weeks of PEC, 3 weeks of regular season, and then a week 0 against Nebraska. So they've had some practice and a little bit of go ahead going into this, and now coming to the Mountain West, I'm sure they're plenty warm and ready to go. I'm curious to see how we are going to start it off, assuming that we're following the same kind of play-by-play with maps.
I know that the maps, that the original map is always the same. It is the same on Control Point. However, Mountain West differs a little bit from the Power Esports Conference, where there's a lot more leeway as to what you choose, where map and point-wise. You can't choose the same game type twice, but you can choose the same, and you can't choose the same map twice, but you can choose them in any order.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a little bit different.
That's good to know.
Unless it changed. Like I said in the last stream about 30 minutes ago, I'm fairly aloof to things. I frequently get things wrong. But
well, that's what we're here for. We're here to learn everything that this team has to offer and how this is going to turn out. And I'm sure for the audience, it'll be a good learning experience for you all as well to know how Overwatch 2 will operate this semester. And as we move forward, this is only the beginning.
yeah, what's going to be interesting is that the Broncos have almost all of their bench players out today, and I think that having that little bit of expertise in your back pocket, you have a lot of different access to a lot of different characters that you don't normally get to see play. You got a lot of different people that don't normally get to see play as well, and we get to see just how different these teams can play together. From a little bit of screen peeking, it does look like they are in the lobby and getting ready for the game.
Sure, they're just doing some little picks and bans, getting ready to go.
Very important.
Always, and I'm sure we're going to get into this fairly shortly.
Will they ban Wrecking Ball round 1? Stay tuned to find out.
Wrecking Ball round 1 ban would be very interesting. I'm curious to see who else could be banned.
It'll be interesting. I would not doubt a Vendetta ban or a Tracer ban would be first round pick. Most likely Tracer if it's going to be first round, because it's a new season of the PEC. You never know exactly what people start to spec into.
West.
Or the Mountain West. It is the first week of the Mountain West. Mountain West. That is what we're playing. It's Mountain West. Perfect. But like I said, it's first week of a new program. We don't exactly know what exactly everyone's going to play. We don't have all that information quite ready for us yet. However, there's some safe picks that are just kind of easy to make in the game. Tracer being one of them, Kiriko being one of them. Mm-hmm. There's just characters that every team is going to run at some point or another.
Yeah, you have those like set in stone picks that can always make or break a team, and I think those are easily some of them. And as we, once again, screen peek, we get a little bit of a peek, and we are going to be playing Samoa. What's the insight on that map?
Samoa is a very brawly map. It's a very close quarters. There's not a lot of high ground. There's some maps that have it. However, Samoa is all going to come down to essentially who gets the first kill. And you know what? Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes that's a bad thing. It all just comes down to team composition and how good you are with it. Fittingly, it is one of the few maps that the character that originates from that map is good on. Mauga is incredible on Samoa just because of how short and small the sidelines are and how, for lack of a better word, wide he is. So it's a lot easier to completely clog up lanes, and we've seen the Broncos play that character quite a bit as well. Or they might play something completely different. We have no idea.
We really don't. Not quite. With that as the first pick, I wouldn't be surprised. Like you just said, Mauga being a really good character there. And I think that with his ult especially, it creates an environment that can be really deadly if used at the right time.
Oh, definitely, 100%, because a lot of the time you're forced onto whatever point there is, except for Village Square. It's kind of like shaped like a donut, so there's an easy way to get out of Mauga ult if it is that one, but for Volcano, for City Center, it is incredibly, if you want to be on the point and Mauga happens to have ult, it's just a fact of life. You're going to get caught in the Mauga ult.
Yeah, it's tough because, like you just said, close quarters. There's not that much space to really move around in, and that's one of those ults that takes up so much space that can, it can make things difficult. It can ruin how you want to attack things. It can also get rid of a lot of players really fast, especially if you capture a lot of like DPS or supports.
Yeah, on this map especially, knowing your breakpoints on your tanks is going to either sink or float, or it's going to float or sink your team pretty much. You're like we've been talking about, very, very narrow maps. Very, very short sightlines. Characters like Bastion, like Reaper, that don't get to see a lot of play because long sightlines are the things that kill them, see a lot of play on maps like these because those sightlines are shrunk down so much. Having those characters that already melt stuff very, very well into maps where tanks can't really run away, supports can't really posture themselves in spots where they can't die, it really just comes down to how can we kill them before they kill us, and even more so than normal Overwatch is.
Yeah, and as we look, we're still just giving it a little bit more time to get figured out, everything getting settled. Once again, you're kind of just getting back into the swing of things. New season, getting back into the Mountain West, kind of get back into that groove. Everyone's got to get ready. Everyone's got to remember how to do this all.
Oh yeah, I mean it's always a little bit of a learning curve too. I mean every league does things just a little bit differently. Everything works just a little bit differently as well, and just trying to find your swing back into it. And I mean at least it's the same old game. If it was a different game that you were playing, if it was like different. Oh, what am I looking for? I'm looking for rules. That's what I'm looking for. If it was like different rules, different character selection, different just about everything, or different team structure. If for instance, if we were playing 6v6 instead of 5v5, there might be a little bit more issues.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of going from league to league, it is a little bit of a growing pain. However, I think that the Broncos can do it. They've done it for years. They've actually excelled in a lot of these leagues for years when they've been playing both of them. I kind of want to point at our Rocket League team once again during the last semester, how well they played last year during kind of splitting attention between the two leagues. And Overwatch has done it themselves for several years now as well, the past 5 years to be exact.
Yeah, I mean, Overwatch, they're the reigning champions in PEC right now, and now still the 5-time reigning champions in Mountain West, looking to continue that tonight against Oregon State. The Beavers, they have a tough challenge in front of them, and I'm curious to see how good of a fight they're going to be bringing to the table. I mean, like we keep saying, we keep prefacing it, it's week 1. This is where, if you're one of these teams, you have to lay it out all tonight. You got to show what you're here for and what you're fighting for.
Yeah, in regular season play, we do have a few stats from the Beavers. They have actually done fairly well against us in regular season play from 2019 to 2021. They actually took the wins over us those years, but every year since then, it has been fairly Bronco-sided. The Broncos stepped on the Beavers, if you will. I don't really have an analogy for the first one because a beaver stepping on a Bronco, that whole idea sounds terrifying. That would be like a beaver the size of a bear. Very good idea for a horror novel.
A horror novel?
Yeah, it's like a big old. It's
Beaver
like
the size of a bear.
Yeah, it's a big old beaver, but not the. I don't know where I'm going with this, but
I don't know where you're going with it either.
I lost my train of thought a long time ago. That got switched at the station, like 4 stations back. I have no idea where it's at, but I know we're playing Mountain West Overwatch.
That is all that we know.
Yes.
And we're still, I mean, all we know is Mountain West Overwatch, Oregon State. We know our map. Just trying to figure out when we are going to be getting into this, hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how long it goes for. I mean,
Another thing that I want to note on is in the PEC match earlier today, we did see a little bit of switch-ups in roles being played, and I'm curious to see if that'll carry over into this match.
Yeah, Clear, I want to point out, especially playing all 3 roles across 4 games. 3 regulation, 1 just for fun that we got to see a lot of our bench players play in. That was a fun game. That was a lot more fun than I thought it would be. I mean, it's always fun to watch them play, but when the games get sprung on you like that, you're like, is it gonna be good? Is it gonna be bad? How are we looking at this? And it ended up being a good one. It was a very, very close one. It was a 3-2 game of Flashpoint, which I feel like Flashpoint always ends up kind of close, but that one felt especially close, especially with every single game going either 99-100 or very close to 99-100.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even in that first game of Control where Clear was playing tank, he was switching between, I believe it was D.Va and... Oh, no, he was D.Va the whole game.
Yeah, he was D.Va the whole game.
And that initial game of Control went all the way to 199%.
Oh, wait, no, he was D.Va and Wrecking Ball. He played Wrecking Ball the whole second game. Like, you played D.Va the first round, like the first point.
Yeah.
And then for the second point, it was all Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was getting at because of the 199% that game brought, or at least that first bit. It was really close, and then it was an entire flip-flop of 100 to 0. So I'm curious to see how this is going to translate. I wonder if we're going to get similar.
It does Clear no ball enough to play the Mountain West.
Yeah, but before we get into that, we are going to take a short little break, so don't go anywhere. We will be back very shortly with Mountain West Overwatch 2.
Since you guys have been in here, some things have changed. We've updated this place to be in its final form. New cabinets, new counters, all sorts of new stuff in here. This has turned into a place that wouldn't look out of place at an SEC or Big Ten football facility, and Dairy West has allowed us to have it here. We've taken a holistic approach to our player nutrition, and we're really thankful that Dairy West has made sure that our fueling station is the best in college esports and really at industry standard for any college athletic department.
Scott Matlock, underrated recruit, has built himself into one of the best defensive players in the Mountain West.
What would you do if you couldn't fail? Would you see every setback as a catalyst to keep going? This is the innovator's mindset, because innovation demands daring. Is finding thousands of ways that don't work, and the one that changes everything. It's when your unrelenting spirit sees the world's needs and says, I will create something better. So, what will you do? Will you let your genius run wild? Give yourself the space to be great. Set your sights on something even bigger, because we know changing the world doesn't happen by chance. It comes out of the blue.
My friends know me as Derek, but I'm also Master Sergeant Raxter. This is my life in the Air National Guard.
Love Powers Up Pokey. Thank you.
Shout out Powers Up Pokey, feed us lunch. Appreciate y'all.
Just finished feeding the football team. Always a pleasure. Go Broncos.
Life happens. Lucky for you, the new ICCU Central Plus checking account comes with benefits, including cell phone protection.
Wait, through my ICCU checking account?
That's right. Along with a whole lot of other benefits you might need. Because being human is a full-time job.
Scott Matlock, underrated recruit, has built himself into one.
Have been done. We didn't know the map beforehand. It was Samoa, and we were talking a little bit about it. Some potential characters we might see, some potential bands we might be able to see as well. But now that we're getting into it, I'm curious to see what the actual picks and bans are.
Do we know ball, or are we just frauds? We don't know.
That is always the question. But we are finally going to be loading into our first our first Mountain West, Overwatch 2 match of the season against the Oregon State Beavers.
The Beavers versus the Broncos. Who will win? Starting off with Samoa in our best of 5 series. The Broncos coming off a fairly dominant win. That's the word I'm looking for. Over in one of their other leagues. Can they bring that momentum into the first game of this series? Start that snowball rolling once again. It looks like we're going to have Strider. Who knows, ball, and Oregon State ready to get this thing rolling on a little bit of diva, which we kind of expected.
now we get into it. I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready for Betty Spaghetti. Oh, I guess the server was not ready for Betty Spaghetti.
I guess so. So we're going to give it another quick minute.
Maybe the Overwatch devs don't like spaghetti? Maybe they didn't like my my other food analogy?
Yeah, you just keep talking about food and everything starts breaking. So
you know what? Speaking of food, that Paddles at Poke place, pretty good.
That Paddles at Poke, absolutely, dude. They are awesome for sponsoring some of our home games and supporting the Broncos here, keeping us fueled up, ready to go. And going into this, I mean, we got a glimpse at some of the picks here. So we saw Ball, I saw Cassidy, we saw the Diva. Oh, who else?
I saw a Symmetra. I saw a Tracer. I saw Kiriko's on both teams. A little bit of Wuyang on the Boise State side, and then some Brig from Squishy Squid on on the Oregon Beavers side. The only reason I remembered the Brig is because I saw Squishy Squid, and it was like, I do like calamari, and I know it's not quite squid. This is close enough.
It's close enough.
It's a cephalopod.
Okay. But regardless, enough on food. We are hopefully getting into it.
Yeah, it looks like we're changing maps over to Volcano, which I can't say I disagree with. This is my favorite one of the three. It is the most visually appealing. But of course, visuals don't make the game. Players do.
Indeed. The players are the one that are playing, and we're the ones just covering it. But right now, it's going to be Boise State and Oregon State duking it out to start off the season to determine who's going to go up with the initial win. And I think the initial momentum is going to be everything here.
And it does look like
everything has changed.
Yeah, there has been a few swaps, but I do like the Zarya Reaper a little bit more on this map in particular. This is really where that tight corridors that I was talking about a little bit beforehand, just no space to move, and you're seeing it with Angel just not quite able to push up forward. Get a little bit of chip damage onto Clear and Maxwell, however, Strider is pretty well able to just take as much space as he wants and just cash out. That objective is just about open and is almost clear. They're looking to take another fight right on the objective.
Now we're going into it. Capture is going to go to the side of Boise State. They're going to start to get that initial percentage, but a lot of damage is being dealt to Strider as Angel is able to dive in there and get a little bit of damage going. Clear, trying to get something going.
Oh, Squishy Squid, a little too squishy, completely folding to Clear on the Reaper, forcing out the Immortality Field from the Baptiste, and out comes the Deadeye, which has already been built. Ultimate's being built huge from almost every member of the squad, but FEMAS? F3. I'm gonna call him. Well, I'm not sure what to call him, but he did use Deadeye and it missed.
He unfortunately missed, but gotta know how fast he got that online. Two more already ready,
and Nadokato. Man, I'm going to have to figure out how to say all these names right now, otherwise I am going to butcher every single one of them. But it does look like Clear is going to be teleporting in. Relatively risky strategy, but he does have the Wraith to get out. Not to mention Zarya Bubbles where needed. Out comes the window from the Baptiste and completely pushed past. The Kitsune Rush has to be used in order to get Suzu back online to clear the Pulse Bomb, but Squishy Squid goes down so quick it doesn't even matter. Shotgun Tatsu is going down as well, and Strider's going to find another for the road, as Hex is going to be the only one traded out. There's a Tracer in the back line, but other than that, Oregon State is down for the count.
Down for the count. They need to get something rolling here. A little bit of contest is going to happen early, but it's not going to be worth it as the Broncos cross 80%, approaching that final mark before they take this first part of the map. Now some ultimates coming out and damage being done. There goes Angel and as well Maxwell falling as well.
Yeah, but look at how many ultimates there are to use, and FEMAS and Squishy Squid are getting tread on. The Beavers have been turned into felt hats to close out the beginning of round one. Boise State takes the first point and secures himself some early momentum.
Early momentum. This is what you expect out of five-time Mountain West champions Boise State. Getting that first one pretty handily, a nice little 100-0 here, and I'm sure nothing will change going into the second part of this map.
Also, something I would like to point out during that last one, Boise State had 4 ultimates on the table to use. They had a cornucopia of powerful abilities right at their fingertips, and Oregon State had nothing. They were able to get their stuff incredibly quick. I mean, I especially want to point out Femus on the Cassidy being able to grab that Deadeye before the point even unlocked, which is impressive in and of itself. Just they were not able to really make the most of those ultimates. They ult dumped a lot and weren't able to space them out. However, now we got Strider on his Wrecking Ball, a skin we don't see too much out of him, the submarine captain skin. Personally, one of my favorites. I think the Snowball one is my absolute favorite, but you know, this one's pretty good as well. Strider doing the Wrecking Ball thing, just kind of hanging around in the backline.
And you know, he's doing what Ball does. He is causing mayhem and disruption all the while. Strider doing what he can while his teammates to try to keep sight, but Maxwell falling to Femus one too many times now. Clear has to deal with this Tracer before getting going. He's going to TP onto sight as he starts to do damage on to Squishy Squid, and as Squishy Squid falls, Lyric is going to be able to capitalize on that and start to get some momentum here for Boise State.
Yeah, it does look like he's going to leave both of his supports to die, though, as Lyric and Hex are going to fall. The point has not quite captured for Boise State. Oregon State is still trying to push for the point. Clear almost going down. He is going to go down the second he releases from that Wraith form, and Strider is still just chilling on the point. They may not have captured the point, but neither have the Beavers. The Broncos doing a good job of just kind of backing around, playing the angles well, but that first capture will go to Oregon State.
Now, this is what you want to see, a little bit of contention here. Oregon State getting the initial, but now Boise State has to do they have to do what needs to be done. They need to take this next team fight and try to get as much momentum as possible. They need to get this site back into the hands of them so they can take this map outright in a 2-0 fashion, but right now they need to get going as Oregon State already is past 25%.
I will say, though, the Broncos are in a good spot to really start doing that. Suzu being used out of Sotatsu is not going to bode well for the rest of his team, especially as Nadokato goes down as well. Angel is going to die soon after, and with Squishy Squid falling to Hex, Boise State takes it back just as quickly as they let it go.
Just like that, Boise State getting the recapture, the one thing that they need to win this game. Can't let it be into the hands of Oregon State by any means, and now they are the ones improving. Now with 15% already on the board, they need to play defense here. A lot of util coming out of Maxwell. He's starting to get some good damage going, but something needs to happen. They need to get some kills going before this team fight gets out of hand.
Yeah, Clear almost looking for an ultimate there. I mean, many people would put it the least obvious Reaper ult, but it didn't come out, so it obviously was not very obvious. Out comes the Ravenous Vortex, a little bit of a solo ult on a Clear, but it goes completely wrong for Angel. That wasn't what he was expecting at all. Out comes the teleport, looking to trick out Naradoko, and it does end up working, but gets stuck by the Freya bolt. It does not kill, but it does lead to Hex going down since they gave up the chase. Femus still running for his life, needing to find a way out of there.
You can see Strider already lurking and ready to go with Minefield at the ready. I'm sure if he gets an opportunity in an open area, he will use it. As we see Angel switch over to the Diva.
Yeah, I want to point out once again, Boise State have 5 ultimates to use right now. Oregon State only have 3. Not nearly as big a disparage between ultimates as we saw during the last round. However, it is still a very wide power gap to get through. Out comes the Kitsune Rush, met very early on by the Overclock. Sound Barrier comes through as well. That is 2 support ultimates out of Oregon State. Only 1 left to use. Kitsune Rush out of Lyric as well to match it up, and Hex is going to have to use Sound Barrier to keep the team alive, but he goes down early. Out comes Death Blossom, takes Shogatsu, and the Mines take out Squishy Squid. Lyric goes down, Maxwell as well, but Femus and Nadoko are the last ones left. Strider killing Nadoko. It is just Femus, and he is gone. He tries to Bola, but to no avail. Oregon State fall, and Boise State takes round 1.
That is what we want to see. Boise State starting off strong. Little bit of contention there in the second part of that map. Oregon State able to capture early, get some percentage, but it was not enough as Strider getting that play of the game here. He was the one who, he did really well. I mean, that's what he does on tank. It's just how he is.
He just does. He doesn't think, he acts. And when you're playing a character like Zarya on a map like this, where everybody is sort of forced to either stay together or stand on a line, then you have a character like Zarya who has a perk that actually allows her to do piercing damage with her laser above a certain threshold. It basically means you can just deal so much damage, build that ult so quickly, and just deny a lot of area from your teammates. Of course, Zarya is an incredibly squishy tank, so you need to communicate with your supports, you need to play cover well, and just overall, you need to have some good game sense. But we see that out of these players a whole lot. In fact, we've been seeing more and more of the Zarya out of Strider every single week.
Yeah, and him switching over to Ball, another pick that I feel like we've seen quite a few times now, and he does so well. I mean, he does what Ball usually does. It's disrupt and lurk and just make sure no one is expecting what you're about to do.
Yeah, he's like a lurker with a Vandal. You never really expect him until he's already taken out 2.
Yeah, he's like, I got my 2, and then he continues to get more.
Yes.
You get what you know you can, and then you continue to do the most out of it. That's what Strider does. And we are going to be moving on to King's Row for the next map, a bit of a hybrid going into this next game.
I did guess it the last time, but I did technically guess King's Row, so I was sort of right that we would see it today.
Well, you picked it for that series, not for today.
That is true.
Regardless, though, we are. But you're trying to make things out of technicalities.
Yeah.
But we are going to go to Kings Row for the next hybrid map. Going into this, Boise State, good momentum, and I'm curious to see which side they're going to be starting on. Because I know we've talked about it before. If you're on that defensive side to start, you know you can set your line as soon as that round is over to say how far do I need to go. But before we get into this game, we do want to thank one of our sponsors here today, Dairy West. Today's stream is brought to you in part by local dairy farmers and the dairy proteins they produce. Thanks to them, Boise State Esports has access to next-level fueling options that keep our players playing at their peak. Unbottled dairy protein that powers your performance. Visit unbottled.com for more info.
And as we wait to go into King's Row, I do think we are not going to see a whole lot of changes out of either of these teams. From the looks of things, Oregon liked to play a lot of the characters that were just kind of uppy and downy. I want to point out the Freya especially, having one of the best vertical mobility options in the game with her updraft, which is how she's able to float into the air. Plus, when she aims down sights, she can stay in one position for a little bit, which is super trippy to shoot at. Like, from my experience, you usually expect people to go in an arc, but not Freya, because she can pop up, move like normal, stop, move like normal, stop, change direction, stop. It's really odd to fight against, but it makes you so vertical and so mobile that it makes it just a super valuable pick.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to aim at and get your tracking right for a character like that, and I think that's what these kind of players for Boise State have in their back pocket. It's that adaptability to play characters like that, and I think that they can figure something out here, and I think if they do end up on defense like we saw earlier today, it's going to be good to see how they defend like they did earlier. They're able to, set that line, and they held Baylor up until the final seconds to even get the payload active.
Yeah, and even then, that was off of a very, very close clutch or kick play with the Tracer, which ended up working out for him. There was no kick. It was all clutch. But in the end, can the Beavers do something similar? From the looks of things, we got somebody going Iari, and if I have to take a guess as to who... Oh, wait, no, never mind. This is... we changed times of days. But it does look like Boise State will be on attack this time around. We got a little bit of Widowmaker action, and of course, the Wrecking Ball. It would not be Boise State Overwatch if there was no Wrecking Ball. Vendetta comes out on another team for the first time that we've seen today.
This is going to be a bit of a new look here. Ramatra and Vendetta. You can see a little bit there on the defense. You can see Wrecking Ball coming out. You can see everything happening. And Strider on the ball. We saw him last round, and we saw how vital he was. Let's see if he can do it again.
Yeah, clear, it was clear on the Widowmaker. Tries to take a few pot shots, doesn't find anything, automatically switches right over to the Sojourn. Actually manages to take Shogatsu out, but not before Femus is able to just chunk him down very fast. Maxwell goes down as well to Narukedo, and I think Boise State is going to have to back up and reconsider their entry strategy.
Definitely reconsider, as this is a point that's a little tough to get to at times. There's a lot of vantage points for a defense here that they can take advantage of, but we gotta look at the other side. Angel getting really low, having to switch forms here, able to put out a shield and stop it for just a little bit, and Nakatado going almost down, actually able to stay alive as Strider rolls around to the back end and tries to cause more disruption.
Yeah, and he's going to be able to get fairly far into the back line, forcing players like Femus to just turn around and look at him. He's a big enough target that you need to target him, but deep down you know that there's other things you need to be shooting at. Femus going down incredibly low into the single digits, but is able to get right back up and at him, but not before Clear and Maxwell take their own. They've taken their pound of flesh, and now Boise State is starting to roll past the defenders. They have to back up and try this again, especially as Angel is pretty much alone with the supports. But out comes the Kitsune Rush, met by the minefield, and boom goes the Ramatra. Angel is dust.
Dust left to be seen again later as Boise State begin their push, and as Strider makes an early push forward. Lots of healing is going to come out, and he's going to have to just back off just a little bit. I mean, that early pressure is a lot for Boise State. It gets them out of trouble early, and a vendetta coming out for Boise State as well in the form of Maxwell.
I feel like Maxwell is like one of those foxy jump scares on Vendetta, because you just see him come out of nowhere. Like, he'll be up in the rafters, and you don't know which rafter he's in, but you can hear him, and he's just he's just there, and he's ready to scrap at all times. Out come two support ults out of Boise State. Lyric and Hex both having to use theirs. It's going to take out Shogatatsu. Femus is also gone. Angel falls soon after, and Maxwell ripping and tearing until it's done.
What a
In fact, there's still something in the back line. Nope, there's no longer.
There's nothing.
Back line.
Clear's gonna end that run. Team wipe on the side of Boise State. You can see all of Oregon State all the way back there. And as we see a couple of these ults be ready to go on either side, it's going to be the next push that matters. Strider, look at him. He's already ready.
He's just waiting. He's just waiting for Angel. Wow. He's going to run him over. He just got flattened. Poor Angel didn't learn the basics of roadway safety. Don't you know you should always look twice before crossing the road? You never know when something might come out. Strider almost has his ultimate once again, looking to swing just around, making sure nobody can push up to the point. Boise State's going to capture point number 2 as they continue their push, looking to make it all the way with 4.5 minutes left on the clock.
4.5 minutes. Minefield is going to come out. Clear Maxwell ready with ults. Maxwell will fall to Nadokato. And now it's going to be this last push ahead of him. 4 minutes with plenty of time. Plenty of distance already started. So now they are just furthering their line that they need to hold going into defense.
Angel taking quite a bit of damage, but forces out the sound barrier. Nadokato is also going to go down before any meaningful thing can happen. Squishy Squid quick to follow the Lyric too, and Angel doesn't look to be long for this world without any backup, and he's gone too. One ultimate on the board for, wait no, 2 ultimates on the board for Oregon State. You got Angels, and then you got Shogatsu's, 2 of the better ones in their arsenal. That Kitsune Rush really can turn a fight, but they need to find kills with it in order for it to really come into effect.
Lots of time being spent here, and a lot of time still in their back pocket as Maxwell chases down
Squishy Squid.
They just chase them down, and an ult will come out. Hopefully a lot of damage onto somebody, and it's going to be onto Shigatsu behind the boxes. Lots of damage coming out. Now that's both supports out of the way for Boise State. They just need to carry this all the way to the end. There's not quite anything they can do, and Boise State will take it all the way to start off this second game.
With enough time to listen to their favorite song as well, with 3.25 minutes remaining. That is incredibly quick push time. They were pretty much non-stop from the first point to the last. That is what you want to see, especially on your attacking round. Now, as your defender, you just know, don't let them full capture, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, if Boise State has shown anything today, it's that they can make a line, and they can make sure no one crosses it. And right now, that line has to be before this capture point. If they can hold it down as far as that, not even allow Oregon State to get the payload active, they can stop this game here and now, put themselves on the match point.
Yeah, they have a minimum of 4 minutes to hold this point there, and they've held it there for longer than that before, so I have no doubt in my mind that they'll be able to get this done. However, I do got to give credit where credit is due. Oregon State and their Vendetta gameplay has been immaculate. I got to hand it to them. Game recognizes game. The Vendetta has been playing incredibly well. Pretty much always managing to find at least one pick. Unfortunately, a lot of the time on Maxwell, but I mean, he was already diving into the back line. He was already on low health. You gotta cut him a bit of slack.
Yeah, you do. But regardless, though, I mean, Boise State, they handle that fairly cleanly. I think the only little bit of resistance was right here at the beginning, trying to get onto the point, and now see if they can cause any resistance of their own. Strider waiting to initially attack. He's waiting, and he will strike right now as
out from his den.
As Angel decides to make the initial contact.
Out from his den he goes, and now the rest of the team is pushing on to Maxwell and the rest of the supports in the back line. However, they were able to flush them out, but they weren't able to get any kills. It is just Nadokado on that top line, but the rest of his supports are starting to push up along with the tank. However, Lyric is going to find yet another opening kill. This dude cannot be stopped on the Kiriko. This whole game, he's essentially just gotten opening pick after opening pick, and now the rest of the team is caught in a small corridor, and like a pinball in a pinball machine, they are getting knocked around.
Yes, they are now. Strider able to get a little bit of damage, now charging towards Nadokado. I'm gonna get him out of the way, like you're talking about. That Vendetta gameplay is really crucial right now. He might just run him over all the way.
And he doesn't roll over him, but Shogatsu, trying to be the hero, said, "Don't worry, I'll save you," and then got punched in the face by a giant robot. Interesting longevity decision.
Interesting decisions and development of this, as Oregon State have yet to really get onto site. Clear is kind of just taking a stroll around the backside, seeing if he can get a flank of his own started. Maxwell doing a lot of damage. He found 3. Now maybe he can get something brewing as well. Half an ult ready, already charged, and he's trying to do damage. Maybe trying to find a second. He got one. Maybe he's looking for the second. The Lucio in danger. Squishy Squid falling, and now it's down to the last few players for Oregon State to try to keep this fight alive. Maxwell will go down low, looking to retreat a little bit and get some health.
Yeah, with that, 2 minutes have elapsed. Oregon State burning through half of their time already. Boise State doesn't have very much longer to hold it. They got about 2 more fights left if they plan this out good. 4 ultimates on the board for Oregon State here fairly quickly. Out comes the Deadeye. Is it going to be enough to save his supports? No, it's not. He doesn't find anything as both Kitsune Rushes are traded. However, Lyric is going to go down early in the fight. No opening fight picks for him. The picker has become the one who has been picked, as Maxwell is trying to stay alive in the backline. Hex is actually going to find one on Nadokado. Evening things up, Boise State still has a shot to win this team fight. Hasn't quite ticked over to that second tick on the point, and Boise State is able to kind of claw this one back until Angel takes out Strider. That's a pretty good kill, but they need to finish it out. They need to kill the rest of the team.
They do need to kill the rest of the team. Maxwell staying alive, doing great. Maxwell able to get Famous out of the way. Shogatsu falling as well. He's maybe looking for 3K, looking for 4. There's the third. Nadokado going down as well. Angel still there, and they're gonna fall. Boise State, even without Strider, is able to hold the point and keep it down. Now under a minute left. Oregon State need to get something on the board here if they want to have a chance at continuing this game.
Yeah, Strider setting up alongside just about everyone else. He doesn't have Minefield, so he can't drop it outside of their spawn. However, he does have the opportunity to get a pick opener there. However, with the overclock out of clear, he's just trying to draw some attention to himself, make sure that they forget about the railgun. Shogatsu getting taken down incredibly low, is going to go down to Strider just being there. He's able to put out that much pressure. Clear is able to get away thanks to Wu Yang. Hex being able to heal him up back to full pretty much instantly. Clear didn't get too much out of his ultimate, but he was able to exert a ton of pressure. Lots of healing going on with 10 seconds left in the round. Oregon State need to make something happen now.
But with only Angel's ult in the back pocket, they need to make a contest right now, as they are on to point. They're contesting. They have some advantage to this. Strider is going to chase down one, get him out of the play, looking for more. It's Angel onto the site. Down they fall, and
he goes down!
Bomb is going to land but no kills from it. Strider now falling. Femus able to get one. It's back and forth all over the place. Boise State able to stay alive. Contest is still alive for Oregon State. They need to get this last one out of the air.
They got him! Femus is down, and with overtime over, Boise State takes round 2. And ladies and gentlemen, I think that is going to be your unbottled play of the game, presented by local dairy farm families. Perform, refuel, recover, repeat. Visit unbottled.com for more information. But with that being said, Boise State puts themselves at match point.
Match point indeed. A great defensive showing there right at the end to keep them off the point. They almost had something brewing there. A lot of kills were coming out, a few onto Boise State, and that kind of changed the tides there. And now we look towards map 3, the third map in this series, potentially a final one for Boise State if they can close out.
I also just want to point out that Maxwell has kind of just been running the lobbies on Vendetta.
Yes, but before we get into that third map, we do want to talk about another one of our sponsors, Boise State Extended Studies. Get your degree on a schedule that works for you. Boise State Extended Studies offers a variety of fully online courses and degrees to help you get your degree on your schedule. Visit boisestate.edu/extended studies for more details. And another one of our sponsors, we cannot forget about ICCU. Thanks to ICCU for their continued support of Boise State Esports. Thanks to ICCU, Boise State Esports has won multiple national championships and piled up more than 1,500 wins. ICCU, looking after your daily balance. Visit iccu.com.
Yeah, but what a game that last one was. Boise State just showing complete and utter dominance in the field. I mean, I gotta hand it to them. Both Venture gameplay was very good, but when you have somebody like Maxwell who almost got 4 kills all by himself,
yeah,
that was pretty good.
This Vendetta gameplay. You were talking about Oregon State's Vendetta game. How about Boise State's Vendetta gameplay?
Maxwell heard me say glazing the Beavers, and he was like, "No, don't glaze them. Glaze me." And he'll be happy because he got to play the game. He's now on the highlight reel.
He sure is doing a great job on the stage. I mean, proving why they are 5-time Mountain West champions and reigning PEC champions at that. They are the best of the best here in these conferences. Starting off the season strong.
Very much so. And really, if you're going to start, that's the way to do it. Set your precedent early. Make sure the people know exactly how good you are. And it looks like we are moving to Cervasa, a map that the Broncos have already had a little bit of experience on today.
So we are going to be seeing a little bit of a repeat here today, but nothing they can't handle. Now with the full squad on, it's going to be a good showing here. A nice little change. Last series, it was a push for the third game, and now it is a flashpoint. So we are going to be seeing this one. First to 3 points captured will win the game, and for Boise State, the series.
Yeah. Oregon really looking for a win here, just to keep the series going, keep their spirits up, make sure that they can at least not end with a 3-0. And really a lot is riding for Oregon State, because as much as we talk about the momentum for Boise State, Oregon State is sort of the same thing. First game of the semester, looking to play the reigning champions of the Mountain West. They are looking for a win here, or at least a few games to bump their spirits up. They need to find a win here if they want to eventually snowball it into an entirety of a win. But even just a map win would be huge to start out the season, especially when you're playing the #1 team.
Absolutely. The #1 team going into this, I'm sure all the preseason rankings were somewhat of the same as we approach the first flashpoint site of this game. Boise State are going to be fighting this one tooth and nail. Strider back on the Zarya, and everything is going to start to work out for them as the initial fights begin.
I will say Boise State kind of getting chunked down health-wise. However, they're doing it a little bit faster to Oregon State as Natakoto goes down to 1, but Strider falls before anything can be made of it. Unfortunately, Clear not quite in a spot to take that final shot that would have done him in, and oh, it gets blocked. Oh, that is not what you want to see as Maxwell tries to dive in, and to no avail. Oregon State will get the first flip, and they are starting to count up quick.
This initial push out of Oregon State is good for them. Already getting 25% on to the point. They need Strider to get back into this fight. They need that lead man to get back in there and start tanking damage. The supports helping him out. But right now it's Angel on the Ramacha holding it down.
Yeah, now trying to rotate over around to that left-hand side, looking to make a little bit of a pincer maneuver. It does seem to be working as a lot of the core is starting to fall back. Hex drawing quite a bit of attention with Clear, and Shogatsu is going to be the first one to go down. Clear is going to get the credit for the kill, and Angel taking quite a bit of damage in the process too. Just lots of damage being pressured on, even with the high sustain from Oregon State. They are still falling to Maxwell and Lyric. Boise State are going to flip it back, but Oregon making a very impressive 80% push.
Absolutely. Nothing to scoff at here. 80%, that's a great push out of them. And now Strider looking to push them back into their own back lines. Trying to get something going here, but already gets taken down to about half health. Oregon State now in their own little corner here, needing to make a good push.
Yeah, lots of damage being done, but no one really doing enough to find any kills. I will say, Boise State looking really good on their ultimates. Same with Oregon State, having quite a few of their own. In fact, Kitsune Rush does get used by Lyric, looking to open up the fight.
Strider now rushing down, popping that bubble, and starting to do some damage. And there's one onto Squishy Squid. One of the supports out of the way. Nadokato also falling to Clear with help from their teammates. And now a real push back on the side of Oregon State has been noted. And now as Boise State matches their percentage, they are going to top that as well, approaching the final bits of it, surely capturing this first point.
Yeah, with 92 on the board and counting, they might have time for a single push if they get there fast enough, but with 99%, they're able to get on there.
Contested.
One last point, but Angel's going to go down. Out comes the overclock. Can he find anything with it? Having to pop the Kitsune Rush in response, looking to keep this dream alive, but Maxwell's still sitting in the back line. It's going to force out the sound barrier. Lyric's going to go down to Femus, but out comes the Graviton Surge. Maxwell goes down before anything can happen. It is just Clear and Strider on the point against two supports. Can they get it done? Suzu comes out. Shogatsu trying to get away, is able to scamper along and out of the way, and Strider is going to get so low he has to fall down 80% and counting, and actually Strider is going to go down entirely.
Well, what a push out of Oregon State, keeping the first point alive and not just letting Boise State have it till the very end. Now at 99%, it is going to be all the way towards the end. No contest from Boise State. Oregon State will claim this first point. Now onto the second.
Yeah, the extra speed and mobility that Lucio brings, it cannot be misjudged. You saw it there. Just able to wrap around to that left-hand side onto that high ground and just contest the point from an angle that Boise State wasn't quite able to get to. Femus going to use his overclock. Is he going to find much? Lyric is going to go down, actually getting two-tapped by it, forcing Maxwell away from the fight as well, but not away from Nadokato, who's going to find him and cut him down. Squishy Squid making sure Strider doesn't get back up as Clear is forced out, but Nadokato is going to fall in the process. Taking out Hex, but it's going to mean that if Boise State regroups quick, they might be able to get a fight with one less player on the enemy team.
They might, but once again, Oregon State getting this early percentage is good for them because it gets them the time that they might need against some Boise State team that is so dominant. Strider now having to back away just ever so slightly before he gets back into the fight. A little bit of shield and a little bit of health coming back to him slowly. Maxwell topping up, popping his ult, looking for one or two. He's going to get two of them. Clear with a third onto Angel. And surely the point open for Boise State to take. All they need to do is get rid of these last two players. Clear onto Squishy's Kid and Strider onto Nadokato. A team kill from Boise State will get them the point, and now they need to fight back. This time, make sure not to drop it at the last second so they can tie up this game.
Yeah, using two ultimates to three, that is a fine trade indeed, especially with Hex, Clear, and Strider about ready to use their own. Quite the good power balance in the favor of the Broncos. However, the Beavers do still have a few close ultimates. They almost have Sound Barrier, and there's Overclock is not that far away as well. Not a whole lot is happening, but out comes the overclock from Clear, looking to find an early pick in the fight. Everybody kind of scattering, but sometimes it's just what you want out of an overclock. Get people away from the point. We're already seeing Boise State tick over 60%, the 60% line. They have a lot of time to go, but they've also ticked off a lot of the potential time that Oregon State does. Graviton Surge comes through, and the sound barrier to defend, but that's a good support ult to take out of the roster. Maxwell's going to go down to Femus, but Boise State, already at 90%, are going to have a lot less of a hill to climb, especially as Clear might be able to take one out. Nope, he's going to go down before he can.
Well, now that's what we thought last time when they got to 99% with the last second contest from Oregon State. But as we saw, Oregon State able to take it last minute. Now closing in, just passing 70%, might I add. Now looking at 80, Oregon State looking to try to get the second point away from Boise State, forcing them to fight for the last one.
Yeah, the ultimate economy sort of swinging back towards Oregon State. You got Femus with his overclock, which he's actually going to use. Out comes the Kitsune. The Kitsune Rush is also ready, but Squishy Squid's going to go down to the Tidal Blast early. The Kitsune Rush has to be used now in order to keep everybody alive. However, Boise State's still just free to push up. Without that speed boost, it's going to be a lot harder for him to really get anything done, especially with Maxwell almost getting kills with his ultimate. Not going to find anything that time, but wait! Oregon State got the point!
I just realized that as well. We were so busy looking at the last second push, we didn't even realize that time had run out. Oregon State now on the brink of winning map 3 here. They are pressing the matter, now looking at a third point. Only one away until they take this away from Boise State. Something we were not expecting tonight, but very pleased with. I mean, we'd love to see a close game.
I'm not sure pleased is the right word, but I will say it's always entertaining to watch a good game.
That's what I'm
getting
at,
yeah. Nadokado going to take out Lyric in the process. It does look like Clear is going to slink his way into the back line and not really going to find much, as Hex is also going to go down to Angel. Broncos do seem to be struggling to get those fight kills as Maxwell
fell off the map.
I'm not sure if he fell off the map as much as he just tried to die a little bit sooner so he'd be able to spawn with his team. That might be what happened.
Strategic
Fall off the map. Strategic SD.
Regardless, though, Boise State was able to get a little bit of percentage early, getting 12, now having to fight back as Oregon State crossed 30%. Now, looking at this one, it's going to be a team fight left and right. Everyone's being held at a little bit of a crossroads here.
Yeah, Strider's starting to move along that right-hand side, looking to take a fight, but it does look like Angel is going to beat him there. I think they were trying to sort of outmaneuver the tank, but wasn't quite able to do that as Lyric pops the Kitsune Rush. Clear with the overclock is able to get quite a bit of damage out, but not really any more kills except for Shogatsu. But no, Nadokado is going down and Beavis too. Clear with the 4K running through the enemy team. Oregon State reduced to nothing.
Ooh, a 4K, 3 of them with his overclock ultimate. That was impressive.
Man, 4K. That's almost as much as the cards in that graded box are worth.
Back to the game. Boise State now have control, approaching 50%, looking for more. They are going to try to fight as much as they can for this first flashpoint. They need to push it to 5 if they want to have a chance at winning this game and closing out the series entirely.
Oh man, the Tidal Blast almost goes through. I saw the vision for it, just they had too many ultimates to work with to get around it. Lyric's going to find Nadokado, but other than that, it is going to be an Oregon State stomp out for Boise. And overall, they have one more shot. If Maxwell can get there in time, they might have a shot for another fight. However, it is looking a little bleak for this round. 92% and counting. Boise State looking to make a play, and out comes Maxwell onto point. He's managed to stall. Overtime has been activated. Out comes Strider looking to make a play, and he's not fast enough. Oregon is going to take the round.
Oregon State with map 3. And we continue on in the series looking at a 4th map.
Yeah, still, I mean, even in a loss, Clear still finds a way to get play of the game.
It has to be that 4K. Gets one there. Second one right here. Flicks upwards, nails the third. A 4th as well. And it's crazy. Just the coordination and the utility out of it was on point, getting those kills. But regardless, though, now a 2-1 series, still needing that last one to close it out.
Yeah, I am of the belief that it was the speed factor that allowed the Beavers to really get a hold on the Broncos. I mean, they had the Lucio for the entire time. We saw it twice. They were able to get around them. They were able to flip the point and just win. Even if they lost it at 70%, they'd be able to win a point by getting into an unexpected place as a whole team and collapsing on the Broncos from either behind or from the sides, just places that they weren't expecting them in the first place.
Mm-hmm. But we are going to be looking towards a 4th map. Curious to see whether it is an escort or a push. Wondering one we will be seeing and whether or not the Broncos will be able to close it out here or if Game 5 could be looming on the horizon. It's pretty early to say, but I think overall Boise State should have this in hand. But we do want to say thank you to Boise State Esports here today. They are the ones, I mean, they're the reason why we're here. Boise State Esports are the ones fielding all of these players and rosters, and they're the ones competing in all the ways possible, competing and gaining national championships and competitions all around the nation. They are the ones that, I mean, they're the reason you're here watching these teams anyway.
Yeah, that's the reason that we're employed. It's the reason we get to watch esports games every single week, and really, it's been a pleasure. But we'd also like to give a quick shout out to the Idaho Air National Guard. What if you could pursue college or your dream career while serving your country and getting amazing benefits? The Idaho Air National Guard, just 1 weekend a month, 8 months out of the year. You'll get tuition assistance, signing bonus, health care, zero down home loans, and high-tech job training, all while keeping your civilian life and goals right here in Idaho. Whether you're studying, working, or building your future, the Guard enhances it all while giving you leadership skills and lifelong connections. Ready to have it all? The Idaho Air National Guard is your pathway to education, career success, and purpose.
We always like to say thank you to our sponsors. They're the ones that keep this place a running. And right now, Boise State need to be running away with this game, or else they're going to be looking at a Game 5 like I just mentioned. But I don't think that's on their mind right now. I think what's on their mind is what's in front of them, this fourth map that I'm sure they're deciding on right now.
Yeah, and I will say the advantage goes to them for this one. They do get to choose what map they play next. They also get their first ban they get the first ban as well. So I will say, even though they lost, we could have been out, or it could have been a 3-0. They might just bring it into a 3-1. They could very easily win it on this game on a map that they choose.
We will just have to wait and see what that pick ends up being as we look back at the last 3 games that have been played so far. Boise State handling the first 2 fairly calmly. That third one, though, coming kind of out of the blue, I would say, because it was a 3-0 in the favor of Oregon State.
Yeah, that one really did come as a shock. I mean, they just rolled right through, almost like it was no issue. But at the same time, we did see an issue. It was 3 very, very close points that all happened to fall the way of Oregon. And that doesn't just happen by luck. I mean, sure, you get lucky once and you take 1 point away. But I'm going to come back to this again. Speed is the name of the game, and they just had all of the speed. They were able to run things down, and especially on a character like Ramatra, speed is the name of the game. Zarya is one of those characters that really works well if you can sit in one spot, bunker down. Just can't bunker down around a character, around characters that can circle around you.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's kind of surprising me was that second point, where we thought Boise State were able to get on point and make a contest, where instead, it was Oregon State just barely eking out the point, and I could have swore they were there to contest.
I have no idea how that happened. I thought that Strider was on the point and got into overtime, but I think it was just an unlucky C9 or something like that, just not quite on point. But then again, it happened the first time on that first point. They were able to circle around or Oregon State was able to circle around and take the point back from them, just hitting them from an unexpected angle. They did the same thing, point 3, to end up securing the win, and having one person go to touch is not exactly easy when you're against 5 people.
Yeah, when you're trying to 1v5, it's not going to go too well, but, I mean, like we saw, I mean, Clear was able to get a 4K right there with his ultimate, able to get so much damage and utility out of that, just still... It's so close.
Very, very
It really
close.
is. And out of Boise State, I think that they're going to be. I think they're ready though. I think they're excited. I think they have what it takes to get this last one.
Yeah, small little break, and they're ready to rock and roll. I do think I would have to agree with you. Just reset, regroup, and get this show rolling once more. Overall, I think that's the most important thing you can do, whether that's just by yourself, on a team, or in a professional setting like this one. Being able to reset and regroup is a huge deal, especially after a rough loss.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is that, I mean, Doc Haskell, he's up there, he's talking to him, he's telling him everything that needs to be done, and, I mean, just look, they're having a great time. But I think what Doc tells them is going to be everything that they need. Doc is very well versed in this game, and he knows what he's talking about. I think he knows what needs to be done.
Oh, yeah, if anybody does, it would be Doc. It would be the doctor himself. being able to inspire the team, tell them exactly what needs to be heard. Maybe what they're thinking about running, what their best maps are, what their best character. We know what their best character composition is. It involves Wrecking Ball and that, and everybody else just kind of shimmies and shuffles from there. But I think that overall, just giving them a little bit of time to reset, pick a map that they want to play, put a little bit of thought into it, and they will be ready to rock and roll. It's what Oregon State did. They were able to. They don't have Doc, so they can't do it as well. But they picked a game. They picked a map that they were good at, and they did good at that map. So we just got to do the same thing, but better.
Yeah, we have to do the same thing here. Like I said, they don't have Doc, and they also don't have Doc's keys to the game. That's true. That's what's really changing the game here. Doc knows so much about every game that is played here.
He knows everything. About every game.
He quite literally knows everything. And hopefully we do get into this one sooner than later. I'm anxious. I want to know.
I want to know. Please let me into the game.
Put me in, coach.
Oh, there we go. Dorado. A little bit of a escort map to go into map 4. I think Dorado is a good one for Boise State. They like their characters with a lot of verticality. Dorado has a lot of verticality, and it plays really well into what we've seen out of the Beavers so far. They played a little bit of Diva map 1 in Samoa. They played a tiny bit of Diva in Kings Row, but a lot of their success has come on the Ramatra. Ramatra into Dorado, it's easier now that the map has been reworked in a few ways to add a few more staircases, add a few more ways for less mobile characters to get around. But it's still very dominated by characters with a lot of verticality.
And like you were talking about, that Ramatra playing a very pivotal part, Angel doing a great job on the side of Oregon State, but I think Strider on the side of us, at least, has been doing such an equal part. He's been doing such a great job, and I'm curious to see if we will see Ball again on this map.
I would not doubt we at least see an attempt for Ball. If not Ball, then maybe Sigma. Sigma works very well on this map. You have a lot of spots to shoot down at people at. You got a lot of spots where people are clumped together. You can make a lot of use out of his primary as well as his ultimate. However, he's not as mobile. We were talking about mobility. He is the single least mobile tank in the game, in my personal opinion, because he has... the biggest piece of movement he has is a perk, but that doesn't matter because we're playing Wrecking Ball. And it looks like Boise State is going to be starting on the attack.
Starting on the attack, they need to get this push. They need to get it as far as possible, preferably all the way to the end like they did in the hybrid map earlier in the series. And I think if anything is going to show, it's going to be similar to the gameplay that we saw earlier.
Yeah, and it does look like a lot of the picks are around the same. I called the Diva. I figured that one would come out. Squishy on the Lucio. I feel like we're going to see a lot of the Lucio. And obviously Kiriko is kind of a mainstay of both of these teams. But Hex on the Brig, we don't see a ton of, but it's always a pleasure to see. Does look like Strider is going to be diving into the backline with a little bit of help from Clear, but being brought down so low, having to back out. Although I will say, with so many people off the point on the high grounds, it means that there's no one there to contest. So Boise State is fairly free to just walk the cart all the way under the bridge. However, they are starting to just kind of come down. The Beavers are looking to contest a little bit in spots where Boise State might not be as strong in a defensive position, but Maxwell's starting to come in with the Soldier, looking to make something happen.
The push continuing to happen. Angel going down fairly low, has to retreat to get away from that offense. And now, as we approach past halfway to the first point, Boise State are going to be looking to continue this as Strider tries to nail down some of the supports here. Squishy Squid in a tough position, has to fight getting ran over like twice, and he's still going to fall to Maxwell in support as we approach this first point pretty handily, actually. Just about 4 meters until we reach it.
Yeah, Maxwell is going to take out Shogatsu. Angel's going to fall quickly to Strider, but Femus is going to find one in Maxwell. However, Nato Kato is going to go down, and that puts a halt to the defense of Oregon State. They're going to have to fall back as the Boise State capture the first objective. and they are continuing to push forward. You see Strider just kind of chilling around. He's just hanging around.
He's getting that information that Boise State need so they know how far they can push up before they need to leave and start the fight. Right now, it's Angel on this rooftop before Strider decides to dive on in, looking for the supports like usual. He wants to get them out of the way so that everything after that is a piece of cake.
Yeah, Angel sitting by themselves, don't have any supports to back them up quite yet, but Kiriko has managed to come in for a little bit of support. Clear winning the Tracer duel. Nato Kato is not able to really do a whole lot, as we just see Angel on the D.Va trying to contest the point. Isn't quite going to do much as they are whipped with the whip shot out of position, and now it is just up to Hex to keep that cart pushing forward.
Oh my. Lyric and Clear doubling up for a couple of kills. Clear with another one, and now it's just down to the DPS and supports.
Ooh.
Strider diving on in, running him over, doing as much damage as possible. And as Oregon State gets pushed all the way back, Boise State will approach this second point and get that much closer to running it all the way.
Yeah, unfortunately for Nato Kato, they unfortunately missed their pulse bomb, meaning they couldn't really do a whole lot in the last fight except for nuke a wall. But Shogatsu going down that early, it might just spell disaster for this last point. Strider coming back, the Kitsune Rush from Lyric is used, Squishy Squid is down, that is and during the sound barrier, that was a beat cancel, no ult for you, no overhead, do not pass go, do not collect $200, Boise State takes the second point.
And they are going to continue to move down this way. Ooh. Strider already finding more, looking to dive onto this one, able to jump away just barely is Shogatsu. Mind you, Nato Kato able to get away.
Oh no, he was not. He was
not. Maxwell able to find him.
Yeah, Maxwell, he saw him and he's like, woo, and got him. It's very easy. I mean, Maxwell has also said he basically has aimbot. He is the best aimer in North America. In fact, he does not like Soldier's Ultimate, the visor, because he can't get headshots with it. Even though it's auto aim, he says he's just better. And I mean, he's showing it. Nato Kato can't get away from him. Has to use the recall. Almost gets the pulse bomb. Doesn't quite get it this time. He ulted the floor this time, not the wall. It's bringing down the house.
He sure is. Hex able to push him back. Strider in support. Can't do anything. Hex with another and Clear. Timing it up with Nato Kato. They are pushing them down to their spawn.
Yeah, they just got...
They cannot leave.
They have been locked in their house. They were barricaded in as Boise State fully captures with 3.5 minutes to remaining. Very reminiscent of Kings Row.
Very reminiscent indeed. Making quick work of that push. And now it's going to swap sides, and it's going to be Oregon State's turn.
Oh yeah, I think he used it a little bit earlier. It might not have been a true sound barrier cancel, which is unfortunate, but it was very funny to think it was. I think he used it before, it just did not hit anybody because he tried to use it behind a wall, because Lucio has a really odd ultimate. You can use it behind a wall, and if you peek out at your teammates right before the animation ends, because you can still sort of move left and right in the animation, if you see your teammates at the very tail end, they still get the boost from it. So like you can use it behind a wall where you're safe, and then peek out, and then everybody can have it. But it is a very tight window.
Well, for Boise State, they've set the line. Instead of trying to meet it, they have set it. And for Oregon State, that means going all the way to the end. But for Boise State, all they need to do is buy time and shut them down, especially at the beginning. If they can hold them down, not even let them get the first point similar. Once again, to the hybrid map earlier, they didn't even get the payload unlocked.
That is true. They got very close, though. They managed to get it incredibly close, but Boise State was able to come back thanks to a few hero plays. It does look like we're seeing a little bit of a composition change in the DPS lineup. Nato Kato is going to be on the Venture this time around. We've seen a little bit of the Venture earlier today, but not any out of this series yet so far. The D.Va playing up on the high ground, that's normally where we see these D.Vas play, just up top since they can. They have a lot of space to work with. They got a lot of time to go up and down. But Strider doesn't exactly have that same resource. He's got the grapple, which allows him to sort of fling himself into the air, but he has a lot less control over where he goes. Maxwell on the high ground, looking to shoot at the Freya. Doesn't find a whole lot, as most of Oregon State has kind of postured themselves in a good spot to not really get shot by anything unless they're on the ground floor with them.
And this being constantly fought after, Clear able to make a good contest, trying to get something going here. Maxwell able to do just a little bit of damage here. Strider has to be respawned, and it's going to be a good push for Oregon State here initially, as Boise State has to wait for their tank to get back into the game.
Yeah, Maxwell forced to back off, as Nado Kato is actually going to find Clear with the upburst from the burrow animation. Strider, still looking to contest the point, is able to do it for a little bit of time, but there's too much damage getting brought through at once, as Strider forced to back off. The rest of the team sort of waterfalling onto Boise State, but luckily, Lyric saved the swift step. He's able to get back. Nothing to really get away from the D.Va, though. Out comes the sound barrier. It's able to save a lot of the team, and Debola is going to find Lyric and Hex. Angel's going to find another in Maxwell, and Clear might just have to, is actually going to touch, but not for too long. Oregon State manages to capture with almost 5 minutes.
Lots of time, and that first point is crucial. You can see Angel trying to do the same thing Strider was doing earlier, just getting that information. Now, some initial contact is going to be made, but the rest of Boise State has yet to start the fight, and here it begins. Minefield now active for Strider. He might be able to use it, try to get some early picks.
I will say that this second point is a little bit easier to defend than the first. You have a lot more high ground to contest. You have a lot more just space in general, as Maxwell's actually going to find Themis way before the fight's over. Lyric goes down to Nado Kato, but Shogatatsu is also going down. No support, or one support left out of Oregon State, and it's the one that doesn't exactly heal too much, as Angel falls off the map. Whether that be on purpose or on accident, we will never know.
We won't know. But all we do know is that Boise State able to make a good stop initially, but they need to stay on this payload. They need to make sure that nothing more happens than this. If they can stop them before the second point, that'd be huge, but they're already halfway there.
Oh, out comes the Kitsune Rush on the high ground, met by the visor from Maxwell. It's actually going to demech the D.Va. Oh, no, not quite.
There
D.Va
it is.
Almost goes down. Squishy Squid is going to be the one to go down instead. The bomb is going to be used, but Clear is going to stop the remake from happening entirely. Boise State with a waterfall onto Oregon State, who cannot take the heat.
Cannot take the heat. Shogatsu just happened to run away, the only member left alive. Now, lurking on the top of a building. Oregon State able to regain and get back to the point fairly quickly. Payload still stuck halfway. Now under 3 minutes remaining for Oregon State to get to this next point.
Yeah, 3 minutes remaining. That's a good amount of time to be burned off. Out comes the Bola from Themis. It's not going to find anything. It was onto Strider, but getting right up in the air and stopping might be good for your accuracy, but it's even better for Maxwell, as he doesn't have to move his mouse. The Kiriko Sokatsu is going to go down low, has to swift step out. Both supports separated from the team. The rest of Oregon State is in a precarious situation without any healing, as Angel goes down incredibly low and is actually going to be demeched. It is just Little D.Va left, and Clear is going to look to collect the debt that must be owed for how quickly he's going after him. Pulse Bomb comes through, isn't going to find much, but so is the Tectonic Shock, and that is not going to do much either. Themis gets the kill on Lyric, but that seems to be the only tally taken from Oregon State, as the rest have been from Boise. In fact, Themis will fall as well.
5-player kill streak for Strider, now under 2 minutes remaining. Oregon State not able to do a whole lot here. Another minefield available at the ready, looking to do something similar to what he did earlier and try to use it on top of the payload, but if he can still just keep Oregon State pushed back, it won't be much more of anything. Trying to get Angel out of the play. Instead, it's going to be trying to get... Oh, it's going to be Nadagato out of the play instead.
You know what? That might just be the better pick as well. I mean, you did lose Maxwell in the fighting, but you also took out one of their better DPS players as well. Themis is not to be underestimated, but it has been Nadokata who has been doing a lot of the heavy lifting on the DPS department. Out comes Strider on the high ground, able to contest and bring a lot of people down low. Squishy Squid and Shogatatsu are both going to fall, traded out for Hex. but Angel is all by himself in the corner with no DPS or with no supports to his name. And the DPS, speaking of the DPS, getting completely rolled over by Strider. Now with the Kiriko right back in the fray, there's been a little bit more confidence from Angel. However, Maxwell taking out the Venture very early means that Boise State still has a chokehold. 50 seconds left to go, and it does look like a quick swap to Sombra to maybe get rid of the Wrecking Ball Menace.
They see the ults ahead of them. They need to make sure they can get stopped. Strider gets the nano boost and tries to get something. I mean, they just need to keep this stop going. Now, 30 seconds left for Oregon State to try to make one last push. 3 ultimates available for them, including a Kitsune Rush that could lead them to site, but the minefield will come out. Lots of damage will go, but a sound barrier is going to be popped, and that's going to be a lot of health. Double Kitsune Rush also used.
Yeah, double Kitsune Rush on the point is going to absolutely melt Themis. There is nothing remaining of that man, but it also melts Maxwell and Clear as well, trying to contest the top, and so is Strider also going to fall. Lyric trying to do something in the backline. Hex is on his way, trying to help his other support, and he's going to find Shogatatsu. Point is still moving forward. They are almost there, but Oregon State needs to find the rest of the Boise State team. Hex is going to find one as well, and Squishy Squid is going to go down early. If anybody else to fall, it does look like the T-Mech out of the Diva is going to find it. Angel cannot stand. Nano Kato goes down as well. Same with Famous. There's no one left to touch, and Boise State is going to take round 4. Boise State wins 3-1.
That was getting a little dicey. They're right at the end, almost reaching the point and almost extending the game, but Boise State with an amazing team kill will end it in a 3-1 fashion, and Narukato with the play of the game.
And what a play it was. That was a very close game. Oh man, my nails will never recover from how much of a nail biter that was.
Well, that's a you problem, as Boise State wins 3-1. That is what they are worried about now. That is their first win in the Mountain West regular season, now jumping up into that 1-0 slot, giving Oregon State their first loss into this season early. Not where they want to be, but Boise State right where they want to be.
100%. Keep that momentum pushing, keep getting those games in, and keep getting those wins. With a little bit more momentum, I think that these guys are in that confident state of mind. They're in that champion state of mind, and they are ready to keep things pushing all throughout the Mountain West season.
Well, our 5-time reigning champs have gotten their first win on the regular season. Now, don't go anywhere quite yet, because we have a top 5 and an interview left for you today, so don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Since you guys have been in here, some things have changed. We've updated this place to be in its final form. New cabinets, new counters, all sorts of new stuff in here. This has turned into a place that wouldn't look out of place at an SEC or Big Ten football facility, and Dairy West has allowed us to have it here. We've taken a holistic approach to our player nutrition, and we're really thankful that Dairy West has made sure that our fueling station is the best in college esports and really at industry standard for any college athletic department.
My friends know me as Derek, but I'm also Master Sergeant Raxter. This is my life in the Air National Guard.
love Paddles Up Pokey. Thank you.
Shout out Powers of Pokey feeding us lunch. Appreciate y'all.
Just finished feeding the football team. Always a pleasure. Go Broncos.
Life happens. Lucky for you, the new ICCU Central Plus checking account comes with benefits, including cell phone protection.
Wait, through my ICCU checking account?
That's right. Along with a whole lot of other benefits you might need. Because being human is a full-time job.
Scott Matlock, underrated recruit, has built himself into one of the best defensive players in the Mountain West.
What would you do if you couldn't fail? Would you see every setback as a catalyst to keep going? This is the innovator's mindset, because innovation demands daring. It's finding thousands of ways that don't work, and the one that changes everything. It's when your unrelenting spirit sees the world's needs and says, I will create something better. So, what will you do? Will you let your genius run wild? Give yourself the space to be great. Set your sights on something even bigger, because we know changing the world doesn't happen by chance. It comes out of the blue.
Hello and welcome back to the Boise State Esports Arena. Coming off the tail end of our first Mountain West Overwatch game of the season, Boise State Broncos taking the win 3-1. And before we end off for tonight, we have a special interview with our main man, Clear.
Hello, everyone.
I feel like that was a great showing for the Broncos, especially round one. And really, how are you guys feeling? That was just a very, very close game.
We're happy that we came out with 2 wins today. Obviously, a little bit tired, a lot of Overwatch matches. I also want to give a shout out to Cannon or Strider. He wasn't feeling the best today, really feeling kind of sick. So, 1, hope he doesn't get us sick, and 2, hope he feels better soon. I appreciate him toughing it out like a soldier out there and playing a lot of games today.
Yeah, I know there's something going around the Boise area. I've known some people who are very, very sick. I know I'm doing everything I can to stay healthy.
Exactly.
But overall, yeah, you alluded to it a little bit earlier. You guys have played quite a few games today, taking a win in the PEC before this one. How is it feeling playing games back-to-back again for both these leagues?
I'm pretty happy with the results today. Obviously, it could have been a bit cleaner. I think we still need to work on our non-wrecking ball compositions. But that being said, for the amount that we played today, we don't normally have that many games, so kind of a bit of a different vibe that we had to adjust to on the fly. But going forward, now that we have both PEC and Mountain West, we'll get more used to it and be more ready for the long run.
Yeah, it was a little bit more of a marathon today because you had, at least the first one was a 3-round game. Yeah. Then you had a 4-round game, and overall, really good play on both sides. I think that it was pretty entertaining to watch. You don't see, we've seen Strider a little bit on that Zarya comp, but not nearly as much as we saw in this game against Oregon State.
Yeah, we kind of wanted to just go back to playing comfort, playing the wrecking ball as much as possible in the match against Oregon State because Strider wasn't feeling as good in that match compared to the first match. The longer we're playing, I guess he wasn't feeling the best, so just wanted to play around his comfort. And I think we did a good job of that, especially on the non-Zarya comps, but we'll get better with it over time.
I couldn't tell that he was sick. He was tearing it up out there, especially on the wrecking ball. I can't tell if he's sick or not. He's always sick to me, but
in a good way.
Luckily not ill.
Yeah.
I will. Before we end off, do you have any shout-outs that you'd like to give?
Sure. Shout out to my family staying up late watching this. You know, they're on the East Coast, so it's a bit different for them. Also, shout out to the Mountain West. I know it's really important to our team. I know it's really important to Doc and really important to Boise State University. So we're going to work hard and be a lot better in our matches going forward so that we can bring home a 6th consecutive Mountain West championship for Overwatch. You know, that's pretty amazing.
Yep, you got 5 of them already, 1 for each finger. You're looking to start on hand number 2.
Why not make it 6?
But that'll be all we have tonight. Thank you once again, Clear, for coming up on stage.
Thank you for having me.
That is going to be all that we have for tonight. We will have a top 5 after this, so make sure you don't turn us off quite yet. But also make sure you stick or you come back tomorrow and for the rest of the week. We still have a lot more esports content that we are happy as a clam to let you guys watch. We will see you all later, but right after the top 5.
Lots of time being spent here, and a lot of time still in the back pocket as Maxwell chases down Squishy Squid. They just chase them down, and then ult will come out. Hopefully a lot of damage onto somebody. It's going to be on his.
Yeah, Clear, almost looking for an ultimate there. I mean, many people would put it the least obvious Reaper ult, but it didn't come out, so it obviously was not very obvious. Out comes the Ravenous Vortex. A little bit of a solo ult on a Clear, but it goes completely wrong for Angel. Clear is able to get away thanks to Wu Yang. Hex being able to heal him up back to full pretty much instantly. Clear didn't get too much out of his ultimate, but he was able to exert a ton of pressure. Lots of healing going on with 10 seconds left in the round. Oregon State need to make something happen now.
But with Strider now having to back away just ever so slightly before he gets back into the fight. A little bit of shield and a little bit of health coming back to him slowly. Maxwell topping up, popping his ult, looking for one. Oh, he's going to get 2 of them!
Sort of outmaneuver the tank, but wasn't quite able to do that as Clear pops in soon.